I've had one or two questions about awkward bridging, particularly when the cue ball is near the cushion or we're cueing obliquely across the cushion. The pocket's in the way, whether it be the centre pocket or the corner pocket, etc. Well, I did an earlier video that covered one of these points, one or two of these points, but let's just have a little recap on it. Firstly, a nice simple one. On my travels, I often see youngsters or beginners, when the cue ball is in this sort of position, they've got the hand on the table here. You see the angle of the cue, what that position of the hand tends to create. They leave this hand way back here. They're losing control of the cue. So let's just have another look at it. Firstly, it's a good idea if this bridge hand goes forward, please make sure this hand comes forward so you're not losing control here. Secondly, there is always times when you may be in that position and you need to play a stun shot. You may have to do that position, but generally speaking you don't. So here we start in that position, but then think about bringing the hand back. That V there, where the cue is resting, comes back beyond the cushion. So the V that holds the cue here is coming down, so you can drop it down a little, almost to cushion height. Right? And then from there, bring this hand forward so that you're still under control. And it's quite a simple task to get through the ball in a nice parallel line, almost parallel line. So I think that covers that. So all we're doing, remember, the hand is there, just bring it back, drop it down so that the V is almost a cushion height. One thing I like to do when I'm in that position is I press down with this forefinger. It just makes sure that there is no movement. Okay, so that covers that one. Another one is when we get the centre pocket in the way. So here, the centre pocket is in the way. I'm thinking about my normal bridge. But no inhibitions of just grabbing hold of that pocket. All right, that makes it really secure. I've still got my V between the thumb and the forefinger, so no real problem there. Looked a little bit awkward, I admit, but it's effective. When it comes to the corner pocket, it's pretty much the same as the centre pocket, the technique that we use. The important thing is to get very stable with your bridge. I mean, if I'm trying to pop this pink into the centre pocket, it's a difficult shot, even for good players, and it's a very missable shot. But you give yourself the best chance if you can get that bridge stable for a start. It's no good having your bridge up here, because look, I've got nothing to lock these two fingers against, particularly the forefinger, and the bridge is likely to rock or move slightly, hence the cue will move. So get hold of this pocket iron. You know, it might be with one finger, it might be with two. That depends on exactly where that position of that cue ball is, if I'm there. But if, say, I'm there, probably just use the one finger, and these three fingers will be on the wooden part of the cushion. But the important part is this here. I don't want it up in the air, so I might drop it back a bit to get the cue as parallel with the table as I can. But lock that forefinger and lock that thumb. That's the key element. So here, get down from there. I'm using two fingers this time. The thumb is locked against the forefinger. The other two fingers are on the cushion rail. And then get the cue moving nice and fluently and play the shot. Another position that tends to give players problems is when the cue ball is here and we're trying to pop the red. They tend to allow the cue to rub on this edge, and that influences the direction of the cue by allowing it to slide along this edge of the cushion. can give a bit of a problem. What I like to do is get the cue parallel, rest it on the cushion. Although I'm touching the cushion, I'm not at it at a bit of an angle. It will not be allowed to influence the direction of the cue, because here I'm almost parallel with the cushion rail. So what I do is I get these two fingers, the middle finger and then the thumb, holding the cue in position as a guide, and then this forefinger rolls over the cue. So here I get down to play the shot, I'm nice and parallel, all right, just nice and gently get the cue moving and then play the shot. You'll see here that in this particular example, I'm actually hanging on to the cushion here. This finger here and the thumb are guiding the cue, and then this one holds it in place. But without tension, the cue's got to go there, through there nice and freely. So no tension here. In this example, the white is quite close to the cushion. I'm virtually running parallel with the cushion to try and pot the red. Here, I've got two fingers on the bed and two fingers on the cushion rail. I like to get this heel of the hand on the bed as well. Just gives me more stability. So here, I'm playing the shot, now through the ball, there, and then from there you'll notice that two fingers are on the bed of the table, two fingers on the cushion. The heel of the hand I prefer to see on the table. This helps with stability of the bridge. I'm pressing down with this finger in both instances, but if this, sometimes it's necessary to lift the heel of the hand off the bed here. Well, if it is, I like to press down a bit more with this finger, just to add to the stability. Lock the thumb against the forefinger and it's fairly solid, but even more solid if I can get the heel down, okay? If the cue ball is in this sort of position, it may be that this centre pocket here, the opening of it interferes with your bridge. Well, experience will teach you to find a way of doing it. A few guidelines that you might like to use is here, I'm using the conventional bridge, but you'll notice that the heel of the hand is not on the table. I'm finding it very difficult to get the heel of the hand on the table because of this cushion rail here. All right, so that would work, but I've got to make sure I'm pressing down with this finger and this is stable here. Another option could be that I lock these two fingers on the pocket opening here. Oh, I'm actually locking them in there. I'm just pressing down with these two fingers. Now I can get the heel of the hand on a little bit better. All right, so I'm there. Again, I'm pressing down with this finger. Another option some may prefer is the loop bridge. So here I'm making a loop with the finger and thumb, resting the cue on this center pocket, this center finger here, and I'm in that sort of position. That's particularly useful in, shall we say, American pool. Pool players like to use this loop bridge. It's sort of gone out of fashion a little bit with snooker players because they cannot see the cue as they would like. But it's still a useful one to use occasionally. And okay, deserves a little bit of practice. If you're in this sort of position, it can present a few problems. If your name is Ronnie O'Sullivan or you're ambidextrous in any way, shape or form, it's quite simple for them. They just change hands and use the left hand. And on that particular subject, I would encourage all youngsters to play with their opposite hand a little. It's a useful skill to acquire. Now, I had never mastered that skill of playing left-handed, so I never bother. Now, if you're a Mark Williams, as an example, he can just throw his leg over the table here and play underneath the body. I find that rather awkward, particularly not being as flexible as I used to be, so I prefer to use the rest. So here what I will do is just get the rest head and twist it against the cushion rail here. Now there are rests on the market that have been made specifically for this sort of problem. Now whether or not they've been approved by World Snooker, I'm not absolutely sure. But what I will bet on is that very few of them are available in the clubs. So all you need to do is get the conventional rest, place it in position, twist it against the cushion here, making sure I'm able to play the shot with a degree of comfort. I'm locking that cross rest head against the cushion, and what actually does that is this hand. I'm twisting it against the cushion rail with a small degree of force. If I'm further out from there, then I sort of twist it there and press down onto the table bed. The real object is to keep that crosshead still. Now I'm not suggesting that it's not awkward, of course it is, but experience will teach you which is the best way for you to do it. Now, I would encourage everybody, particularly youngsters, to use the opposite hand so you don't have to do this sort of thing. Myself, I suffer from a spondylosis of the neck, and it's very awkward for me to play left-handed. In fact, it's quite painful, so I don't bother. I just find a way of doing it myself. I'm sure the older ones amongst you will find it awkward as well. But there are ways and means of doing it. Just a little bit of trial and error. Good luck with your practice.